Hi, Patrick here, Half Cheetah Will View. We are here with a book update. I am trying to do the 52 books in 52 weeks book challenge that was put forth by our good friend Ali Eisman, and that I know that Sue from the Buds is also doing. But I have not posted for a minute. But I have kept reading, and I got three books I'm going to talk to you about. Two are nonfiction, one is fiction. And so let's get going. So the first nonfiction book I got these all from the library, is Tom Clancy's Submarine. Now, he wrote a series of books based on armed forces elements, such as Air Force Wing, Cavalry, Infantry, Air Cav, and submarines, and, like I said, a fighter wing as well, which we'll be talking about that in a minute. So basically what it is, Tom Clancy breaks down the history of each part of the armed forces he's talking about. So for the submarine, he is talking about from the basis from the submarine, when it was created, what was it created for, the different type of classes of submarines that the U.S. has. Now, this is an older book. So it only goes up to a certain point. So if you read it and all of a sudden you realize, hey, he didn't talk about the Sea Wolf or anything else like that, that's because this book was in the mid 90s. But it's still valuable. The history is history, and it covers a lot of different things. Though I had hoped that he would go a little bit more in depth into the USS Scorpion that was attacked and sank by Russian subs, but yeah, did not do that. But it does tell what it takes to serve on a submarine, the climb up, which is extremely difficult. If you're a submarine man, there's one thing that you have to absolutely thrive on: science and mathematics. You cannot become a submariner without either one of those. And now in the nuclear boats, these are called boats, not ships. Um, as with these boats here, you have to know about nuclear fission, a nuclear reactor, uh, so much that an average submariner has to learn. And the command is hard and vigorous. You don't get a submarine command very easy. Um, well, for one thing, there's not a whole lot of them. So this book is a really fast. It's a little sluggish at first, but it does pick up once you get into the more modern aspects of it, and it's really, really riveting reading. It's probably for guys, probably for guys. I really can't see a girl cracking this thing open, but I'm not being sexist. It's just, a lot of man talk. Yeah, but it is a fascinating book to read. Highly recommend it to anybody reading it, though. Tom Clancy was a patriot. He was a good guy. I mean, he sort of, his writings were somewhat simplistic toward the end. America bad, but his earlier works were really strong. I enjoyed all the Jack Ryan books. I read, I read all his books. And including these. And I have not read a couple of the other ones that he wrote, like on the Cavalry or whatnot, but I will get to them when I see them. So that's Submariner. Uh, it is a little bit of a hefty read. I will say that it's over 300 pages long. So, all right, the next one is even bigger, and that is Fighter Wing. And this covers the 366th out of Homestead, Idaho, and it tells about what it takes to have a fighter wing that includes squadrons underneath it, logistics, fueling, and the fighter planes itself. And he talks about the Iraqi War, which is, this. I do believe this is before. Let's see when this was. Because I want to say this is written. I'm trying to think of when it was written. Okay, so it was written in 1995. So the update was by Barrett Tillman. So this is 1995. This is before 9/11, and the update was written by Barrett Tillman, who I have mentioned before on my show. He is a fantastic fighter airplane historian himself. He's been featured many times on my series, which I probably will break out pretty soon, called Dogfights. The guy, he's absolutely knows a lot about airplanes. My friend Chris Buckholz has met Barrett Tillman many times and says that Barrett is a really good guy. So Tom Clancy, and this was written with John Gresham. So Tom's idea, John Gresham helped him write it. I'm not sure if this one. Yes, and the same thing with submarines. Now I have to tell you, I've said before. I just got done commenting how in my last haul video about how Clive Cussler had another writer write for him off of an outline. I don't really feel that's the case here with Tom Clancy. Tom Clancy liked to do his own research. I mentioned this before too, but when he did. God, I don't think it's. I don't. Well, he did a book on World War III, and it was so concise and so precision. I mean, everything he wrote about was factual. That he actually got subpoenaed to go in front of Congress. They told him to come up. They wanted to know how he knew so much. They thought that there was a leak in the armed forces that was giving this man way too much information, and they wanted to know who gave it to him. And he said, nobody gave it to me. He went to the library and researched it all up. It was all in the library. Of course, after he became famous and he became a champion for the armed forces, access was granted to him a lot more easier, which I can understand. I mean, he was a great PR person for the armed forces, so why not give him what he wants, except for the keys to the kingdom, of course. So the fighter wing is really good too. It's about the history of the Air Force. These little, covers how it was born, covered in some of the wars, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, how Air Force doctrine was changed. Talks about the different fighter planes. You can definitely tell this is an updated picture because it does feature an F-22 on here. But back then, even in '95, the F-22 was flying, but it was not operational. So it probably would have been in '95. This original cover, probably would have been most likely an F-15 or an F-16. But now that the F-22 is out, along with the F-35, that's what they're talking about. And it covers all the different wars. It talks about all the different duties that an air wing has to go through. Amassing assets, putting them on target. It's a fascinating book. Totally great book. Highly recommend it. This book here was 445 pages. All right. Enjoyed both those books. So I picked this up from last Tuesday from my library run, and so I got a lot of books. So I decided to pick this one up here. This is Sixkill, and so I said, it's, as you can tell here, it's pretty thin. So I went ahead and I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and read this. It's Robert Parker. I know the character Sixkill had appeared in other books, but I never knew it was his origin. So I picked this up, and this turns out to be the 39th and last Spenser book that Robert Parker published before his passing. Boy, I would like to say that Robert Parker went on top. I really would. But the truth be told, his writing had really been suffering for quite a while. I loved all the early Spenser books. I really did. I was a huge fan of every Spenser book. And I would go to the bookstore, Barnes & Noble, by our house in Northville, and I would, every time the new Spenser book would come out, I'd go get a cup of coffee, grab the Spenser book, and disappear for a couple hours, 2-3 hours, and I would read it from cover to cover. Loved the books. And then I met Andrew Vax. Sort of like going from reading from Dick and Jane to Charles Dickens. Um, I mean, I love Dick and Jane, go run, Spot, run. But then once I found Charles Dickens, The Tale of Two Cities, to be or not to be. I know it's Shakespeare, but you get the point. Um, and that really was really what happened with Robert Parker for me. I still like the man. I still liked his writings, and I still look forward to his books. But they didn't have the pull on me like the other ones did, like Andrew Vax's Burke series did. Andrew Vax's Burke series is the best fiction series I've ever read, and I was sort of bummed for that because I love Spenser and I really do, and I like Hawk, and I like this. But the last 6 or 7 books that Robert Parker wrote, not very good, and you kept waiting for him to come back. He kept waiting for him to come back, but I think as he just got older, he got more comfortable, and he could. It's sort of like how I commented on with the Lucas Davenport series. Sometimes when you get older, you write what you know, and you write it comfortably because it's like writing an old friend, and there's no push, there's no challenge, because you already know that there's going to be a group of fans out there that are going to eat it up. That's why once in a while Stephen King comes out with a stinker too. Fans don't care; they'll just go ahead and think, okay, maybe it's not as good as his other books, but he's still Stephen King. So when everything comes out, I'm going to buy it. And I think that's what happened with Robert Parker. So this is the story about Zebulon Sixkill, who does become, we see his story. He's a young man. He's a bodyguard of a like a Chris Farley type of movie star, who has some really strange appetites, and it leads to a dead girl. And so Spenser is hired by the actors' defense team to find out what really happened. And so, because otherwise their client could be charged. So he has to go in there. He has to talk to the actor, and he bumps noses with Zebulon Sixkill. And we find out that Sixkill is actually a pretty nice young man, but he's had a tough upbringing, and he seemed to have it all, but he didn't. And so Spenser takes him underneath his wing and starts grooming him to, become a better person and, help people and whatnot. And so, and we go through that, plus we follow the investigation. A lot of the dialogue in here, oh my God. I mean, honestly, I swear Robert Parker could have put a blindfold on and wrote the prose in this. He could have wrote it in his sleep. Same old, same old, same old, same old. Every book, him and Susan Silverman, who I never really liked as his girlfriend. I really didn't. That's one thing part about the TV series that I really liked more than the books, was I liked the fact during the second season of Spenser for Hire, they introduced a potential love interest between Spenser and Rita Fiore. Wow. I sort of wish they did that here too, because that was a lot more interesting than him and Susan. The dialogue there are old married couple, and it's just not exciting at all. I mean, it isn't. It's pat. It should be exciting. They're great characters, but like I said, Parker's his later books just did not have the fire. It was paint by numbers, and it was disappointing to see, to tell you the truth. I know that seems to be cruel to be saying it after the man has passed away, but I'm just being honest. If you want really good Spenser, go back to the beginning of his 39 books. Read about up till probably the mid-30s, maybe like the mid to late 20s books. I think after book 30, it just fell apart for me. But that's Sixkill. 292 pages. It was a fast read. I read it in 2 hours. Cup of coffee, 2 hours, done. So there you go. That's an update on my books. I do believe that is going to be my 12th book. I am already reading the 13th, called Eye of Heaven by Kai Kussler. And I got some other nonfiction books too, including one called Fighter Pilots that I'm reading as well. All right, that's it for this update on books. So I can get this 52 books done. I can catch up. Once I get it in my teeth, I can pull it. All right. That's it. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the book challenge or book reviews or what have you, or drop a comment down. Let me know what you've been reading. Hi, Sue. I'm back. Yeah, let us know. Drop a comment down below. Tell me in the cheater what you guys are reading, and maybe if I see it, I'll pick it up. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace. Oh, oh. One quick thing. One quick thing. Speaking of books. So on June 19th, we'll have author Angela Haas will be here at 8 p.m. She is a novelist, and we will be talking about her new series called I think the first book in her new series called First Strike, and we will be talking with Angela on June 19th at 8 o'clock and 8 questions with. We do have writers here once in a while, so if you have any suggestions on who we should try to talk to besides Stephen King, drop that down in the comments down below, and we'll see what we can do. All right, we'll talk at you soon.